Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video I'm going to be doing a vintage inspired MemoryDex card. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I think today is going to be one of those videos that I do where I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing until it all magically comes together. I have a rough idea of what I'm doing, but I'm not quite sure. So I know I'm doing a MemoryDex. So let's start with my card, for want of a better kind of word. I need to just trim this down just a little bit, about an inch, about a quarter of an inch. Sorry, I know what I'm talking about. About a square. I just got it mapped out here on my. There we go. That's right. So that's the size I want. I know I want to do something vintagey, but I don't want to do just browns because browns are really boring and I want more than browns. So I'm going to grab Vintage Photo, and a little bit of brushed corduroy, and then I saw a video where someone used some salvage patina in there as well. The browns and the teal of salvage patina look really beautiful together. So this is where I'm sort of running with this. This could work out to be a complete and utter mess. It just could. One thing I do think I want to do is I think I want to do like a window and have some of this gorgeous vellum from Luscious Labels squished in the middle. So that's the other thing I'm going to do really quick. I'm going to make this not double-sided. I'll squish it together. But I just want this to be two-sided. So I'm just going to cut another piece so that if I can sandwich them between, I will. And hopefully that's roughly the same. It's not. It's alright. I can use the same piece. No, I can't. Urgh. I have plenty of this cardstock. I'm going to do two things. So I'm going to get this to be the right height, and then I'm going to properly fix it because, yeah, it's bugging me. So this is cardstock from, it's an American Crafts cardstock. I got it from Spotlight in like a neutrals pack. I just wanted something a little thicker than my regular quill cardstock, and that said, it really wouldn't have mattered now because I'm going to double it anyway. But that's why I'm using something different than my normal cardstock. And I'm going to use this, there's a textured side here and a smooth side. I'm going to use the smooth side. I'm going to do that. That will be fine, and when I cut it out, I'll fix it up. Okay. So I'm trying to decide if I want to oxide, like if I want to blend it on, I want to water it on. I know I want some of the watery bits after, so I might start with just blending it on. So I'm going to blend on the brushed corduroy. I just want a slightly lighter colour. And the fun thing about vintage, in my opinion, is that this doesn't have to be a perfect blend. It doesn't have to be smooth. It doesn't have to be lovely. It can be a bit messy with some dark areas and some light areas, and it's going to be absolutely fine. It's kind of a fun way to do it, in my opinion, because it allows you to kind of be creative without thinking about being. I love how quickly that comes together. The good thing is too, because we're going to cover up the inside, it doesn't matter if this is, like, you get ink on the other side, it'll be fine. And then whichever one of these I like best, I'll use as the front, and the other one I'll use as the back. Okay, once that's all on, I'm not going to clean this up because I'm going to put ink all over it anyway. I'm going to start, I'm leaning towards this one as the front one, but I really don't have a preference right now, but we'll see how we go. And I'm just picking up bits of it with the water. I want it to be messy. I want it to be funny or water splattery. So, ooh. And as soon as I'm happy, I'm not waiting to dry that, because if I wait too long, it'll do funny things, it'll oxidize differently, whereas if I'm happy, I can just go straight for it, dry it off, and it will stay the way it is. needs another run, but not yet. So I'm going to do the similar kind of thing on this side. I think this side's going to be a bit more watered down, but that's okay. Layers are fun. Layers are fun. I told you this one was going to be just a let's see what we can do. I like these kind of mess sessions. Now you could also do this with a gel press if you wanted to try with that kind of look instead. Just this time, because I've only just used a gel press recently. So I thought we'd try this watery way instead. Don't forget, we're going to come in with some darker ink in a second as well, so this isn't going to be the end. Then what's cool here, I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to see this. There's almost a bit of blue coming out in this corduroy, so that's where that salvage patina is going to pull that out. It's going to pull out that extra little bit of colour that I really want to do. In fact, I'm going to do the patina next. So same way. All I'm going to do here though is be a little bit more careful. Careful's not the right word. Just be a little bit more light-handed. I'm not dipping it in quite as hard as I did. Oh my god. How good's that? But then as soon as I'm happy, it's going to hit it. Just a little side note, if you've got a bit that sort of doesn't want to come up or doesn't want to dry, just grab a cloth. Just grab a cloth. Okay, I'm going to do one more little pick up here. I'm trying to get it in different spots. And then we'll do the same thing with this other side. Probably a bit hard. Oh, I went too far. I went too far. Alright, so before that dries, I'm just going to try and pick up some of the colour. Actually, oh my goodness, that actually looks better than I thought it would. I thought I went too far. I'm actually surprised that it let me pick it up quite that much. I just want a little bit on the edge. And then I think that's good to come back in. I am just going to really quickly do something similar on this other side. Just push it into what's left. There isn't a lot left on here, to be fair. And just picking it up with the cloth instead of... It just gives it a watered down. I don't know what about that I love so much, but it's gorgeous. I love it. Just drying that off, and I'm just going to give these two a really good dry because we're going to do one more thing with the vintage photo. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to do the same thing one more time with vintage photo. And as you can see, my vintage photo is a little dry. It's alright. Now this one I am being careful. I don't want much, and I'm going to splatter some in a minute as well. The other way you can do this, I'm really happy there. Hold on. The other way you can do this, if you want to have a little bit more control. Okay, so this is a little bit of a plastic bread bag. My dog actually got to it and decided it was going to be the way he was going to eat. He's going to eat all the bread. So I'm just using that just to add in just a little bit more. Same thing, picking it up mainly on the edges to start with. As much as I can of the ink that's still here. I'll actually put a little bit more on. Might need to buy my first re-inker. Who would have thought the first one I was going to do was vintage photo? Always thought I'd lean more towards the colours, and I think I use the colours more with you guys, but I don't know, I tend tend to use the browns a lot when I'm creating for myself. I just do. I do love vintage. It's hard to do all the time though. Alright, I'm going to hit this with the heat tool one last time, grab the other one as well, make sure that it's all nice and dry, and then we can work on the next bit. Now as I was sitting there drying that off, oh my god, just an FY. That's the side I like the best. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely stunning. And when I put all this together, obviously I'll trim it down and make sure it all looks perfect. But we're going to aim at this one being the front side, and this other side is going to be sort of the back side, which is going to still have this on the back, but it might not be quite as decorated, but we'll see. What I know I want to do, I was sort of thinking I'd use a die and cut the middle of it out. That's not very vintage though, is it? So we're going to tear it, which scares the living bejesus out of me, but we're going to do it anyway. So I'm just, this is the back side. I'm just coming in there. I'm going to give this just enough room for me to get my fingers in more than anything else. Okay. And then I just want to tear, and I'm tearing up, and I'm doing that on purpose because the up means you'll get that paper look. And I'm deliberately trying not to go too far, and I don't want it to be too straight, and I don't want it to be too just too much. So I wasn't going to do this now. I was going to wait until it's all punched together, but I feel like I need to kind of have a reference of where my holes are going to go, because otherwise it's not going to make, I'm not going to be able to tear that properly. So, so I can go a little bit bigger. So the cool thing is if you start small, you can then get bigger, and you can push how far you've gone. I'm not going to push too much further on the bottom here. Whoops! It escaped. Because I'm aware of where those holes are. So I don't want to, I don't want it to be too close. And once I've got this side, just making sure, yes, that's fine. Yeah, plenty of room. Alright, once I'm happy with that side, then I can do the other side. Now the only thing I need to do here is make sure, not that they're the same size, because they don't need to be the same size, and they're not going to be, because I can't possibly cut that, tear that same hole the same, like this twice. I can try, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But I just need to make it similar. Just similar. And I can always put a little bit of ink on the back of this so that it all joins in together. Yeah. You can do the same thing here as I just did. I'm going to start small and then extend, because it is much easier to tear more than it is to try and put it back. I'm just having a look. I know that's not the right shape, so I need to go further down, and I need to do something about up here. So let's go further down first. I just want to fix this little bit. Okay. How ironic that it was the other side that I liked. I liked this side better, but I like the tearing I did on that side better. Oh well. Okay, so we can't leave it with that white. We could, but we're not going to. So just for something different, I'm going to use ink on this side instead of oxide. It's just a slightly different finish. It's nothing massive. And I'm just going to, I will blend it on. So I'm just putting it around the edge, and I'm just really concentrating on keeping where the white is. I don't want to go too far out. I'm really just trying to get that white. But then on the other side, this is where I'm happy to go a bit deeper, because this side's going to be kind of the, you won't see a lot of it, but you just need to make sure that you can't see how white it was. Also, just be careful, because this is torn, so some of these corners are a bit close. So you don't want to accidentally tear this and cause a problem. Doesn't really matter, does it? So you can see here now I'm not going to have the black, like it's going to have some depth behind the vellum, but it's not going to be horribly stark that I've got white cardstock behind it. Just a side note, you could start with coloured cardstock, like a brown, if you wanted to. I really wanted to control, to the point that you can control when you're doing stuff like I did. I wanted to control the colours, and so that's why I did it that way, but you could use coloured cardstock and run like that. Oh, it's so grungy and lovely. I feel like Tim Holtz would be proud of this. So I've got my 2 layers here. I'm happy with the way they look through, and I'm happy with the way... Okay, cool. Alright. So now I just need to decide what vellum I'm going to use. So I've got the 2 different kinds here. I've got the vintage text, and I've got the vintage kind of paper. Oh, it's the paper. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just know. I love those little kids. And they will be backwards. Like, I know that. The other side will be backwards. But the idea here is not to have... Like it won't be perfect the other way no matter what. Because that side... Oh, that's so good. There we go. That side's going to be the other side anyway, so it won't matter. Okay, so I don't need to be straight or clever here. I can just cut this out with my scissors. There will be some wastage, that's fine. I'll put it back in my container and I'll use it later. And I'm doing the same thing I did before. It is better to cut more here and trim it down, as much as that seems wasteful, than it is to not cut enough and then need to cut more. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it makes sense. Okay. I'm going to grab my glue tape and let's glue like mad. So you guys know I'm usually, I will glue a lot, but I don't cover every inch. I'm covering a lot here because this is going to be the glue that holds both the vellum in place, but also is going to be the glue that holds the 2 things together. Where is it? Just grabbing a little bit of washi. I just want to hold this flat so that I know that there's plenty of wiggle room at the top and the bottom. So I'm taking advantage of that to hold it still. And I'm trying to make it look like this hasn't got his head cut off, because he does have his head cut off just a little bit. I'm having him, I just don't want him 100% in the middle. I just feel like he needs to be a little bit off to the side. Alright, and then we can trim off the excess vellum. Now I'm just going to roll this up a little bit and cut it off sort of under where the cardstock was. You can cut it off at the edge, but I don't want it to be showing up. I don't want you to be able to sort of look from the top and see that you've got the extra layer. I want it fully enclosed in here. There you go. I'm going to do the same thing here on the bottom. Now we'll still have to punch the holes, but I'll punch all of that when I do the other side. Yeah. Hello. love that so much. I'm actually just going to tear it so that it's out of the way of the holes, any of the, what are they called? Hole Dex holes. That's probably not the right word either, but anyway, you guys know what I mean. And they're just going to put a little bit more glue around the image so I can see through it and I can tell where it's going to be seen and not seen. And then this is where we put these two together. Now, if you're like me and you struggle a little bit with this, grab yourself your scoreboard or your Misty or something similar and use that to help you square this up, because I struggle with it and I'm sure other people do too. That's actually lined up pretty well. I can see a little bit of white, not a lot. And I'm still going to add some slight distressing to the edges, so we're not quite done yet, but I'm just going to get rid of that little bit of white there. Oh, I love that. I really love it. Okay. So then, hold on, I'm going to do the punch first. Got to do the punch. Making a mess with my punch, that's okay. Hold on. I'm going to spin this round so that way I can see, through, and I can just line them up and punch. It's just easier than taking the risk. Making sure that's nice and flat. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Oh, I like it. I'm just going to put this down on top of this white cardstock just so you can see how oomph that is, because it is very oomph. Alright, and the next thing I have here, I have some of these stickers. These are from Luscious Labels, same place that makes the Vellum. And these are some of her absolutely amazing clear matte stickers. And what she's done is she's kind of made these vintage ephemeras using it. So I'm going to use some of this down my edge here. Oh my god, because it just melts. Absolutely melts into the page. You cannot tell that that's a sticker. I love that. That's amazing. Okay, that is beyond gorgeous. I need to buy like 7,000 more things of this. Oh my god. Okay. And then they've got, oh good, it goes that way. Okay. There's kind of this one like that looks like a bit like a map. Now I kind of feel really horrible for wasting some of this. Thankfully I have a couple, so it's okay. I feel like that's going to look really cool down here. I'm just making it straight-ish, and I'm also just being aware of the fact that it's going to run over my vellum a little bit there. I think that's okay. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And I just trimmed off the little bit that would cover my MemoryDex hole so that it didn't get in the way. And you could keep that and use it. Oh, actually, let's do that. I'm full of good ideas. She says as she puts it down on her glass mat and it gets stuck. Okay. I'm just going to put this sort of along the top there. There we go. Ooh. No, 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 no. Yes. The answer is yes. But it was the corner that had that curl to it, and it just didn't quite look right. So I'm just adding a bit of trimmage to kind of fix that. That's really cool. Okay. Now there's also some script. No. I think I'm happy with just those ones for now. But then there's also, so I need to do two things here. I need to add in some words, and I need to add in a little bit of colour. Oh. So these are also from Luscious Labels. These are her Vellum die cuts. I've been struggling for a while with how to use Vellum die cuts. I have a lot of them. So I might need to grab them out and use some of these. But I need some words. So I've got some Motex tape here. This is from Hobby Hoppers. going to use some of this. I'm also going to add in, and I don't know if this is going to work, so we'll just wait and see. This is some Nuvo drops. How am I going to do this? And I'm just grabbing my silicone. It's actually a spatula, but I just pulled it off. It's what I use to sort of pull things along. I'm so scared to do this. Oh, actually that's really nice. I just want just a bit of metal here, and I don't have anything else that I want to use, so I thought this would work. It's just giving me a little bit of that copper look. I know you can get some of the foundry waxes and stuff like that. I have looks on them. I just haven't actually got round to getting any. So this is my way of doing it without having to do it. I'll add it to my list of things I want. Alright. Oh, I just realised that was a nice piece of cardboard. Oh well. It is what it is. So I'm going to have those sit in the corner. To put this down, so vellum can be a bit of a pain because you don't want to be able to see the adhesive. If you can run this through a Xyron machine or something sort of similar, it's going to hide the adhesive because it's all over the whole thing. So that's what I'm going to use. So it's going to turn it into a little vellum sticker like the other one, and I'm just layering it up and just avoiding that hole again. Now I want the butterfly though to sit up, so we will use a little bit of glue there. Alright, and then I need to work out what this quote's going to be. So, I don't want little letters, I want big letters, so I've got to remember how to do this. Press plate, that pulls out, right. That goes in. I just want capitals for this one. Alright, and then we put our black in. I struggle a lot with my Motex. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm good at this because I'm not. And I know I'm not good at this, so I don't want anyone to judge me on how bad this turns out because I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it wrong. Okay. So I'm going to do See the World Through the Eyes of a Child. I think that's a bit long, but I'm going to do it anyway. The only thing I do know with the Motex is to be as hard as you can. So I'm just going to push this a little bit more through. There we go, I can see it's there. And then I'm going to hit this really hard, so because it's the pressure that does it. I worked out how to do spaces, but I worked it out literally when I'd finished. Oh, that was silly. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to trim it all down anyway, so it won't make any difference. So just pulling that back through. I still have plenty here. Now, I'm adding to my vintagey look. This is what I'm doing here. You could do this with a stamp. If you had a stamp that did it, you could do it with alpha stamps. There's lots and lots and lots of ways you could have done this if you don't have a Motex. But I just thought it looked really cool, and that sort of was my thought. See the world through. I don't actually mind the space things that I've got there. I actually think it turned out really lovely. I'm going to use liquid glue just on the back of the butterfly. Actually, before I do that, I'm actually just going to let that get tacky because sometimes it works a little bit better. I'm just going to add in a little bit of ink along the edges, and that includes on the top and a little bit on the back. Really love the way that smushed Nuvo drops came out. Need to use Nuvo drops more. I kind of did that on purpose. I was sort of trying to without trying to. Okay, so I'm just making sure that the wings stay up. Go, and I can pull off this tape. I'm just sort of thinking if I want to change it now, and I know that's really annoying, but I'm just thinking that maybe Never Lose Your Sense of Wonder would have been better. Okay, I'm going to really quickly do that. I'm not going to throw this away. I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it in my sticker book and I will use it later. But I am going to really quickly do Never Lose Your Sense of Wonder, and I'll be right back. Okay, when I did that, I got a little bit lazy and didn't push as hard. So some of my words ended up being a bit light. So I've just redone them. It just means that this will be more broken up than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. You've got the Never Lose Your... Actually, I think I kind of like it better this way. The good thing is that that doesn't come up really horribly on the other side, which is... I know we're not going to look a lot on the other side, but good that it's not horrible. Oh my god, I love that so much. Did that need to take as long as I took? No. I probably could have found a way, but this is, I love doing projects, whether it's on camera or off, where I have a very vague idea of what I want to do, and let's just go and see what happens. And this one has happened gorgeously. I really love it. I love the vellum window. I love that little smack of metallic when you sort of move it in the light. I love the little butterfly. And there is a beautiful blue butterfly in here. I'm just going to show you really quickly. The blue would have been beautiful as well, and it might have picked up a little bit more of that salvage patina, but I think the orange works beautifully with the browns. It does really come together. And the kids in there with the wonder, that's sort of where I went with that quote. That was sort of what I was thinking. Absolutely gorgeous, these stickers and the vellum, and it's all lovely. So can't recommend it more highly. And I really love that colour combo, and I think I'm going to have to use it again because it is absolutely gorgeous. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But anyway, it actually kind of looks still good. The other side is a little plain, I'm not going to lie. But I don't want to use the stickers on the other side. That map's gorgeous, by the way. I don't want to use the stickers on the other side. I want to leave it sort of that's the side. But it needed to be torn out as well to be able to sort of match up, to have that window look. Could also turn this into a shaker if you wanted to. I just felt with the vintage thing, the shaker was maybe not quite going to work, but would be a really good way to do it if that's sort of the way inclined you are. So there we go. That's my vintage MemoryDex card, sort of inspired by these sort of vellum bits and matte stickers from Luscious Labels. Thank you, Denise, as always, for pushing boundaries of what you create, because it just inspires me to create. So thank you very, very much. Need to make a couple more sort of in this sort of theme. I'm thinking maybe even some cards in this sort of theme. Let me know what you think. You can let me know if you think that would be a good idea down below, or of course on all of my socials. If you did enjoy this one, please give it a big old thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for lots more MemoryDex goodness, and I'll put my MemoryDex playlist at the end of this video, so if you want to go and check it out, you can do that too. I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome, awesome, awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!